Scream 7 gets a new director, Twilight of the Dead gets life, and Flashback Weekend Chicago Horror Con, all on this Friday edition of Spill the Guts.
I like it spooky.
Hello and welcome. My name is Clint and I am one half of the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast. Yep, you heard me right. I said one half, not one third. Listen in on the latest feature episode of the show, which got an early release yesterday for the details on that. Speaking of details, today's news ends with information about the Flashback Weekend Chicago Horror Con, which kicks off today, Friday, August 4th, and this just in.
Hello, Sydney. It's an honor.
First story of the day comes from BloodyDisgusting.com, who reports that Radio Silence, who brought us VHS, Southbound, Ready or Not, Scream 5, and Scream 6, will not be returning to direct the upcoming Scream 7 due to scheduling issues, and also that Christopher Landon from Happy Death Day and Freaky, who was in talks to direct, will now officially helm the project. The Hollywood Reporter made it official, reporting that Spyglass has tapped Christopher Landon, a scary movie stalwart, whose credits include the Happy Death Day movies, as well as body-switching horror comedy Freaky, to direct the 7th installment of the long-running franchise. Scream 5 and Scream 6 directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette from Radio Silence will remain on board as executive producers, as will Chad Villella. No word yet on who will be writing Scream 7, but THR reports that Melissa Barrera and Mason Gooding are expected to return. As for Jenna Ortega, only time will tell. THR notes Ortega's deal will be one to watch, as the actress signed on to the franchise before she was catapulted to the A-list thanks to the Netflix Wednesday series. The ongoing WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes have halted productions across Hollywood at this time, so it may be a while before production on Scream 7 actually gets underway.
The number you dialed is not in service.
The now attached to direct Landon also wrote the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 7th installments of the Paranormal Activity franchise, along with writing and directing Paranormal Activity The Marked Ones. Needless to say, he's got a highly respectable horror pedigree as he heads into Woodsboro, and his previous work proves he has the right sensibilities for the Scream saga.
Yeah, you're gonna love this one. It's a Scream, baby.
I think we have some late word just arriving, and I'll interrupt to bring this to you. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. Widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact.
Next up also comes from BloodyDisgusting.com, reporting on a story I covered back when rumblings of the project first began, that the late George A. Romero's next planned zombie movie, Twilight of the Dead, is finally coming to life. Before he passed away in 2017, horror master George A. Romero had been developing one final zombie movie titled Twilight of the Dead, which has shown brief signs of life here and there over the years. Deadline brings us the latest update, reporting that the film now has backing from Round Table Entertainment and a planned late 2023 start date in Puerto Rico. The George A. Romero estate is teaming up with LA-based financier-producer Roundtable, with Twilight of the Dead being positioned as the final installment in Romero's Dead franchise. The original treatment for the planned project was penned by Romero himself, but Joe Netter, Robert Lucas, and Paolo Zalotti tackled the actual screenplay. Romero followed a seminal zombie film Night of the Living Dead with Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead. The upcoming Twilight of the Dead takes the zombie terror to a fresh location, a tropical island. Twilight of the Dead is said to delve into the dark nature of humanity from the perspective of the last humans on Earth who are caught between factions of the undead. Deadline also notes the production team on Twilight of the Dead, which includes the late filmmaker's last wife and estate manager, Suzanne Romero, is in negotiations with a director and was in talks with cast before the SAG-AFTRA strike hit. They are currently applying for an interim agreement. Suzanne Romero said in a statement, quote, "I'm delighted to be joining forces with Roundtable to bring the eerie evolution of Romero's universe to the screen. Roundtable impressed me with their long-term and deep love of George's work. I believe they have the vision to produce the best version of this movie that honors the Romero legacy. I can't wait to start filming." Roundtable's John Baldecchi adds, quote, "We're thrilled to be working alongside Suzanne to bring the final installment of this epic series. It is the perfect ending to one of the greatest horror legacies of all time, with a powerful and timely message about how humanity is the cause of its own destruction over and over and over again. Regardless if it's a farm, a mall, an army bunker, a high-rise, or an island, one thing is for sure.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
And now it's time to pause for station identification and hear from our podcast network, the PFPN.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Last story of the day is simply to let you know that the Flashback Weekend Chicago HorrorCon is taking place starting today, Friday, August 4th, and runs through Sunday, August 6th. Now, I could drone on with all of the details, such as myself and the Spooky Boys of the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast being on hand at the inkmirrors.com table, or that Valentine Bluff's cast and crew will also be in attendance, but there is absolutely no way I can say it any better than Chicago's own Sven Gulli.
Join me, Sven Gulli, for the Flashback Weekend Horror Convention, August 4th through 6th at the Hyatt Regency O'Hare in Rosemont. Meet Art the Clown, a Scream reunion, Michael Myers, Kane Hodder, Jason. On Friday, I'll be on stage with Joe Bob Briggs and Darcy. On Saturday, I'll do photos and autographs and host the Sinister Visions costume contest. Visit the dealer's room for great horror merchandise. Call now or visit flashbackweekend.com.
And that is a wrap on your Friday news. As always, don't forget that you can connect with the I Like It Spooky Horror podcast on all mainstream social media platforms or in person this weekend at Flashback Weekend Chicago HorrorCon. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss any of the free content we put out for you, which was an onslaught this week with 3 Spill the Guts episodes, 2 Appendages subcasts, and an early release yesterday of the latest feature episode discussing the Grindhouse love letter, Planet Terror. I hope to see some of you this weekend, and I will talk with you all again this coming Monday on another edition of Spill the Guts.
Hey, what's wrong with you, man? Show some fucking respect for the dead, will ya?